Apologies for the noise. If you can hear it, there's a party going on outside. I'm not invited, but the real party's in here on youtube.com/, U0Y. Okay, whatever. Someone asked me to talk about uh, why Moe is deep. And so I'm going to give a speech that I've given a few times and just go over why Moe is deep, I suppose. And so just to start it off and to kind of sum it up, um, there's nothing inherently deep about Moe, and there's nothing really inherently deep about any genre of anything, right? Like, just like action films, you've got your action films that are like social commentaries or have some deeper message behind them, and then there are action films that are just sort of dumb fun, and both are fine. Like, I like I like both kinds of movies, right? Uh, but generally speaking, the ones that are sort of have the extra layer, the extra level that they work on are going to be, as much as you might enjoy watching a dumb fun action movie, those are the ones that are going to stick in your head and they're going to really mean something to you. But that doesn't mean that both aren't don't have merit. Both of those styles have merit, and in the same way, Moe, some of it is just sort of dumb fun. There's not really anything particularly going on in terms of messaging or deeper theming or any sort of deeper philosophical takes or anything like that. But then there are other Moe shows like off the top of my head, Hidamari Sketch, K-On!, Lucky Star, that have something deeper going on. I think maybe even Kotora-san. There's quite a few of them. Um, and the thing is, in the same way you could be forgiven for watching RoboCop, and you could watch RoboCop and just enjoy it as a dumb action movie, and still have fun watching it, but then be a little confused. Like, why do people talk about, that it has some sort of political satire or commentary on the nature of being a human? Uh, you know, those elements are there, but you kind of have to look for them. They're not shoved into your face, like with an art film where they're sort of unavoidable, which is not a problem. It's just a stylistic decision. And a lot of moes like that, where the thematic depth isn't really present in the same way that the moe elements or the comedy elements are uh, right at the top. The thematic depth tends to be a level deeper in the subtext, um, and you kind of have to read into it. Not always, K-On! Is pretty open with its thematic depth. I personally think Hidamari Sketch is as well, but a lot of other people don't necessarily see it that way. That's fine. Um, and yeah, you just kind of have to look for it, but it's often there. Not always. There are some shows like I don't think Yu Yushiki. I don't think Yu Yushiki has that much to say about sort of deeper themes or anything. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm missing something, but I didn't get that out of the show. Um, Apologies. I didn't get anything particularly deeper messaging about society or humanity or anything like that out of the show, which is fine. I still love my UUs. Um, but yeah, so that's pretty much what I wanted to say, and you might have meant Avare Senso, rather than why Moe is deep. Like how could Moe possibly be deep? Maybe you meant how is Moe deep? Like how could shows about cute girls doing cute things possibly have deeper messaging? Um, and to this, I mean, I think I'll give my classic speech about my response to uh, the accusation you'll just watch anything as long as it has cute girls in it. Because I think that does a pretty good job of illustrating how a show can be deep even if it's moe focused. So the idea of watching anything as long as it has cute girls in it, let's see what it means. What does it mean to successfully pull off a show with cute girls in it? Well, the first and most obvious thing is character design. And I think that when people say this, that's what they're talking about. They mean, like, oh, you'll watch anything as long as it has well designed female characters. Which is sometimes true. I have watched shows just because I liked the character designs before. But that's not sort of, those are generally not my favorites. I want something a little more than just a pretty picture. So let's see, what else does it take to make a really successful cute girl character? And moe, just to give you my definition of moe, Uh, for me, moe is the feeling of I want to protect this smile. You know, like that kind of feeling. That's moe to me. So to pull that off successfully, you have to nail the character design, but also you have to nail um, the voice acting, obviously, right? You know, a cute girl, like take a Kamichu over here, right? The main character of Kamichu, pretty decent character design, pretty good, but really elevated by the performance of her voice actress, which does a lot to sort of bolster her personality. Um, Not just that, but animation is also important. You can have a girl that looks cute in static shots, but do they move in expressive ways? I think K-On!, Yui from K-On! Has a lot of really expressive. The K-On! Characters, but Yui in particular has a very expressive way of moving. You know, her hair floofs up when she gets excited. That adds to her character, adds to her personality, makes her more relatable, or maybe not relatable, makes her more endearing. I know I'm doing this like I'm Italian. The Yui from K-On! The K-On! Girl. I will stop. Um, is that racist? Did I just do something racist? I don't know. It's only Italians. Who cares about them? Um, so the animation plays a big role here, and it's not just about having the most frames. It's about choosing how to animate a particular character. In currently airing show Bocce the Rock, you'll see a lot of really interesting, innovative animation to express the character's internal state in a visual way on her exterior. Like when she's sort of freaking out with social anxiety, often her physical character design will start to deform and break down, or maybe like have like glitchy effects. Like I find that stuff really interesting and endearing. It adds depth to a character and makes me, drawn to them more. So that's already a lot of stuff, but let's talk more. I mean, obviously a big deal is the script. You have to write the character's dialogue well and the character's backstory well, and the way they interact with each other well. If you don't have the example I always give is 02 from Darling in the Franxx, Fuckers in the Franxx. I know a lot of normies don't agree with me, but people who know Moe aren't generally the biggest fans of 02. Even though she's well voice acted, she's well animated, and she's got a pretty endearing character design, the writing of that show is just dog shit. She's just nothing. She's two dimensional. She's like I mean, all of them are two dimensional, but you know what I mean. Like she doesn't have any depth to her character. She doesn't have anything that makes me like her, that makes me root for her. She's just sort of gimmicky. She doesn't have like interesting or strong motivations that are built up through a backstory that makes sense. Like that she doesn't interact in interesting or endearing ways with any of the other characters. Really, to me, this is a failed attempt at creating a cute girl and a sense of moe. I don't really get any of that from that show, and so you have to nail the script. And hold on a minute. So isn't that? But if you have to nail character design, animation, storytelling, script writing, dialogue, um, and voice acting, that's pretty much everything that you can do well in anime. Like, what else is there to do? So if someone says you just like shows with cute girls in it, what they're really saying is you just like good shows where everything is executed well. Because in order to really nail a cute girl, you have to nail all of those things, which is also going to mean those are like the most important things of making a good show, you know? So that's how moe can be good is that making good moe is making good anime. They are the same thing. Like in order to do one, you have to do the other. Uh, and maybe you're a little confused because moe shows tend to be comedy focused, at least the ones I like. Not, there's some drama focused ones. I'm not a big fan of those, but the more comedy focused ones, you might be confused as to how a comedy could be deep. And I implore you to look into other genres of media. Take literature, for example. A lot of the most highly acclaimed books that are held as like these massive achievements in literature are comedies. Like Don Quixote, the first like modern novel, like one of the most important books ever written, is a comedy. Like there's a million. Or what? I should have written some down so I didn't have to try and remember books. I don't know how to read, so this is not my area of expertise. Um, what's that one called? Ulysses? That's at least partially a comedy. A lot of the Pynchon books are comedies. Like almost, and calling them comedies isn't really accurate because they have a little bit of everything in them. But they are funny. They're laugh out loud funny often. A lot of the William Burroughs books are really funny. Like just because something is funny, something being funny is just as valid of an artistic achievement as something being dramatic or sad or action packed. Well choreographed. Something being funny is as much as an achievement as anything else. It doesn't mean it's vapid. It doesn't mean it's surface level. Humor can be extremely difficult to pull off properly and extremely deep and extremely um, you know flavorful. It can have a lot of texture to it. Humor, because not all humor is the same. There's no such thing as like humor isn't just one thing. There are many different styles of humor, and they all come with different textures and flavors, and they make you feel different things. Even if they all make you laugh, it's all also doing different things to you. That's how Moe can be deep. Um, I implore you to watch. I think a lot of people they go into these shows with the attitude that like nothing important is going to happen. I don't have to put anything of myself into this because the shows don't really ask that of you. They let you just sort of lean back and bask in the light entertainment of moe-ness, right? The light comedy and activities and the yashike ness of it, right? But just because it doesn't like explicitly ask you in the same way, like something like Angel's Egg really shouts at the viewer, I'm a metaphor, read into me. Like just because these other shows don't necessarily do that doesn't mean that depth isn't there. And I think if you go into watching these shows with that expectation that there is actually some deeper meaning here, that there is actually something the writers are trying to get across to you, I think you'll find it. I think it's often present. Even in some of the ones that I didn't name as being like the all time greats, I think it's still present. So that's how Moe can be deep.